everyone. My name is Alina Frank.
And I'm not. I'm Craig Weiner.
Yes. And as international EFT trainers, we really have the opportunity to meet a lot of people in the EFT world, in the EFT community that you may have never seen or heard from. And so it's our delight to have these EFT MBA sort of business spotlights where you can meet people doing fascinating and interesting things with EFT from around the world. So today I would like for us to introduce someone that we've known for a while and does really incredible work. So Craig, you want to introduce?
This is fun. I love this. So Liz Zélandais, she's a certified EFT practitioner. She's a grief support specialist. She's a Reiki master practitioner, and she's a graduate of the Barbara Brennan School of Healing. For many people, a lot of people around the world, the greatest source of joy and the biggest source of pain is romantic relationships.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Our guest today has lived through 5 decades of doomed relationships, and while on a mission to attract higher quality men and to find true love for her life, she discovered EFT. Yeah, thank goodness. Not only did this process result in her current marriage, but it's also the program that she now uses to coach other women that are looking for love after 40. And it's really our privilege to have our business spotlight on Liz Zélandais today. Hi, Liz.
Hi, Liz.
Hi, Alina and Craig. It's so good to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. So I always am fascinated with how people found EFT. What was sort of the strange way that they came across this very strange thing called tapping?
Well, strange is a good word for it. That's a wonderful question and has kind of a semi-awful answer as far as the, but you know what they say, bad experiences make great stories.
Absolutely.
I had kind of bottomed out. I'd been fired from my job. My boyfriend had gone back to his ex. My dog had died. It was, the ultimate country western song.
Oh, wow.
And I was, my whole life was sort of bottomed out. And even I really felt so sure that this was the universe's way of just giving me a clean sweep. I wasn't depressed. I knew it was an opportunity, but I was still kind of desperate. And I started reading, researching, and that's when I found EFT. And I started working with an EFT practitioner to help clear the blocks that just felt like they had been stumbling blocks through all of these different things. And not just at that moment in my life, but like through so many different times in my life. Mm-hmm. So that was my start with it. And it was just amazing in the help that it offered.
Mm-hmm. And then, it sounds like you really hit this crisis point where like you had to seek outside help and you found it. And then what led you specifically to think about, maybe I should work with, women around relationship issues and all of that. What led you in that direction?
Well, once as Craig so eloquently described, that was like the queen of doomed relationships. It wasn't just that moment. I'd been divorced 3 times by the time I was 32. Uh-huh. I had all these other, just bad relationship after bad relationship. So along with EFT, I really developed, I saw it isn't just luck to find the right person. And I really worked with a system, and it worked so well. And I helped a lot of my friends, it worked for them. And so this had kind of been on my back burner for a while. And then I started my EFT practice after I had such wonderful trainers, that would be you all, and got my certification. And so my practice was working with a lot of different issues. Mm-hmm. But most people, and I ended up working mostly with women over 40, and I ended up dealing mostly with relationship issues. And so I really went back to that, just like, oh my God, I love this so much, being able to lead people to romance And with the EFT background, also being able to help them during that process to help resolve the blocks in their lives that might be blocking them from a partnership, as well as other, different kinds of abundance in their lives. So it all kind of came together in going back to that.
That's great. I'm wondering, when you work with people, because a lot of people don't know the variety, do you work with people just in your hometown? Where's your practice? Do you work in one-on-one or in circles or groups?
Sure.
Like, what does your practice look like? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
So I live in Madison, Wisconsin, and sometimes my southern accent comes out. I was raised in the South. I've kind of lived all over the country. And the nice thing is even though I'm pretty firmly planted in Madison and I have my studio here where I do see people in person, but I also have clients all over the globe. And I use video conferencing for those who, who aren't able to come here in person. Or sometimes even some of my Madison clients are really happy just staying home and not driving and wearing their bunny slippers. And so video conferencing is wonderful for that. And then I do also work with groups, and I love group energy. I have a monthly tapping group that I have. And sometimes people will come who've never heard of EFT. A friend brings them,
Right.
or and some of them are old pros at it. But no matter what, there is something about the group energy that is absolutely magical. It just is. People talk about even how, that wasn't even my issue, and yet I just got so much from that. So as you all know, there's so much to the group energy. So yeah, I am so fortunate to be able to practice in all of those areas, in person, remotely, and in groups.
That's great.
Yeah, being in a group is often a really good taster for someone that it's like, not sure. Okay, I've heard about this thing. Oh yeah, maybe I'll dip my toe in it, and then they get to see and feel the power of it, that they'll go further and deeper.
Yeah.
I agree. And I do think sometimes they have that kind of safety in numbers feeling like, well, I can just kind of sit back and watch how this goes and I won't be put on the spot. But most of them, even their first time in group, will usually choose to do some work and then are just blown away at the shifts that they make in such a short time.
So I'm kind of curious. I mean, people know about online sites, dating sites, and so what do you do with the tapping work and the EFT? Is what do you help them, which part of that process do you help them with? I'd love to hear a little bit more.
Some people, I mean, there are a lot of, and that's why I'm happy that we're doing these kinds of things where we can explain how this would relate, because some people see it as, oh, it's just like a trauma technique, or no, I tap just to feel good in the moment. I'll turn on a video and feel good in the moment. So we love to explore okay, so what is it that you lend to this particular arena of finding love or helping with relationship? How do you see that EFT really supports that journey of healing?
Well, my first, and I always tell my clients this, that even though, I hang my shingle out on helping women find romance, helping them find the partner that they want, finding a high quality partner, my first job is to help them fall madly in love with themselves. And to create the kind of life where they would not think of settling for anything less than awesome. So in doing that, a lot of times there are self-worth issues. Sometimes there are old traumas. For instance, a client who had not been able to fully grieve the loss of a loved one, that you think, well, that has no relationship to her finding love, but it was sort of blocking up everything else. And so just in working with EFT and helping my clients work through those blocks that are holding them back in any way, so that it does, and it helps them build their self-worth. It helps them get rid of limiting beliefs that they may have held. We also work a lot on, one of the first assignments I give my clients is, what are the patterns that you've had in your past relationships? And even what patterns have you seen in your parents, in your grandparents, in your, and we work with those patterns and help resolve those. Sometimes there's trauma behind them, sometimes they're old beliefs, but EFT is so useful in all of those areas, in really helping them get to where they want to go, which is first clearing the way to truly love and respect themselves, which just opens up the way for finding love with someone else.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. And one thing I'm curious about, because you also have all of these other tools that you have been picking up along the way. I know of a few, like
picking up or dedicating years
to, like the Barbara Brennan, like the Reiki. I can see the connection there with the grief stuff that you've studied. And I'm wondering, what is it about the sort of like the energy things that you brought into your awareness and consciousness that facilitate that work with women seeking relationship after 40? Just, is it a different perspective that you have? I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
I'm doing less and less of the table work, as you might, with the Reiki, with the Brennan healing science. But all of those, first of all, the first thing that I am charged with as a healer, and I do consider myself a healer, or at least a facilitator of healing, and that is to make sure that my client feels safe emotionally, feels safe physically, mentally. And so I think that everything I have learned in each of those disciplines has helped me bring presence to my client, so I can be completely there for her, so that I am holding her and whatever it is that she has. In Brennan, I think one of the most important lessons I learned, I remember a dean telling us, when we would just want to sort of fix someone, like, oh, they're in so much pain, I just want to help them. And he said, no, you want to get past your own discomfort, and you need to learn to be compassionate and yet be able to hold whatever it is they have without making it about you.
Beautiful.
So that's where I find that it's with me every day in my work.
That's lovely. Yeah, thank you. Well, how would somebody go about finding you if they're interested in what you do, explore further, check out your great website? Where can they find out more?
Well, as Craig said, my name is Liz Zélandais, and my website is zélandais.com, and it's spelled nothing like it sounds, so I'll spell it out for you. Z as in zebra, E-L-A, N as in Nancy, D as in David, A-I-S as in Sam, so zélandais.com. And I offer 15-minute consultations at no charge. I really want someone to have a chance to know a little bit about me and to see if they feel comfortable, because no one is for everybody. But I would love the opportunity to work with anyone who's interested or to explore that.
Great.
That's great.
Well, thank you so much, Liz.
Oh, Alina and Craig, thank you so much for this opportunity. It's just so great to get to chat with you all and to get to put yourself out there. You guys are awesome.
Thank you. That's our you.
Yes, and for those watching, please go check out Liz's website. There's wonderful material in there, videos that she's offering, and just a great place to pick up other really interesting information about this whole topic. So, yeah, check it out.